Welcome to the deep dive. We cut through the noise to bring you the crucial insights you need. Today, we are really plunging into the, let's face it, high stakes world of investor pitches and fundraising, specifically for early stage startups, seed and Series A. Our goal here: to give you a series shortcut, we want you to be incredibly well informed on this whole process, drawing on some fascinating facts and real insider advice.
Yeah, it's interesting. Most founders, they think fundraising is just about, getting a check. But the surprising thing is it's much more like a high-stakes, time-sensitive game, almost like chess. Your preparation, your strategy, not just your product, that's often what decides if you win or lose. So we're going to try and show you how to navigate it effectively using guidance from people who've been on both sides, investors and founders.
Okay, let's jump right in then. With all this prep needed, the first big question has to be when? When do you actually start fundraising? Our sources were pretty clear that timing can be a huge, easily avoidable mistake.
Absolutely. A really key insight is steering clear of the fundraising dead zones.
Hmm.
Think August, late November, pretty much all of December. Investors are often just disengaged then, out of office, not really looking at new deals. A good process, once you're really in it, active, usually takes about 4 to 8 weeks. Plus, you've got all that vital prep time beforehand and then the closing process afterwards. That takes time too. So the question is, are you really setting yourself up for success by hitting the market when investors are actually paying attention?
Right. And once you are ready, it's not just about, spraying and praying. It's about being strategic in how you approach investors.
Yeah.
We learned that smart founders group investors into batches.
And what's really interesting is the why behind that strategy. It's quite clever, actually. You deliberately start with maybe your lower priority firms in those first batches. Yeah. This gives you a chance to sort of refine your pitch, get some real feedback, get comfortable. It's almost like a live dress rehearsal.
Okay, makes sense. Work out the kinks.
Exactly. Then, once you're feeling polished and confident, then you approach your top-tier VCs. And structuring those meeting days close together, that's also key. It creates this powerful sense of urgency, a bit of momentum among the investors you're talking to. They feel that buzz, that fear of missing out.
That makes sense. So for a lot of these early stage companies, fundraising follows something called the 1090 rule. What that basically means is, for the vast majority, like 90% of them, fundraising isn't some quick transaction. It's slower. It's about building relationships, really focused on getting maybe just one or two specific partners to genuinely fall in love with your vision.
Yeah, it really highlights that personal connection, doesn't it? You need to choose based on the partner, not just the big firm name on the door.
Yeah.
It's so important to pick an individual, check their track record, figure out how much influence they actually have within the firm. And, if you're a first-time founder, focusing a bit more on local partners can be really beneficial. They often tend to be more accessible, maybe more hands-on with support.
And a big warning sign that came up was avoiding overshopped deals. That's when just too many investors have already seen your pitch deck. Because think about it, if everyone else passed, the next VC is immediately wondering, okay, what's wrong here? That's tough to overcome. Also smart to research firms, see if they've invested in similar businesses or, importantly, competitors.
Right. You don't want conflicts there. It reminds me of something one expert, Sims, mentioned. He realized fundraising forces you to look at your own company completely differently through an investor's eyes. So he actually flipped it. He started asking potential investors tons of questions.
Really, to vet them.
Exactly. To figure out, is this someone I actually want to work closely with for potentially years?
Okay.
It shifts the power dynamic a bit and give you a much deeper understanding before you sign on the dotted line.
Okay, so you've targeted your investors, you've vetted them. Now it's the pitch itself, that pivotal moment. And the advice here was pretty direct. A Series A pitch, it needs to be incredibly polished, super rehearsed, but it has to feel spontaneous, like a live performance. Never, ever just read your slides.
Adaptability is the key word there. And the way to practice that isn't just reciting it in front of a mirror. Grab someone who gets why you're excited, who gets the vision, but maybe doesn't know all the technical or financial weeds. Then have them just fire questions at you, totally out of order. Jump around the deck.
Oh, interesting, like a stress test.
Precisely. It tests if you can pivot, stay on message, and articulate your point smoothly, no matter what curveball they throw.
It's easy to think the pitch is just about the facts and figures. But a theme that really jumped out was this idea of the pitch as a story. Founders need to shift. You're not just selling a product anymore. You're painting this picture of yourself as the, quote, inevitable victor of a huge market opportunity.
Exactly right. Storytelling is just incredibly powerful. Why? Because it connects emotionally. And let's be real, a lot of big decisions, investment decisions included, have a strong emotional component. You need what they call a crystallized narrative, a clear, high-level story. And repeat those key points, almost like a chorus in a song, so they stick.
So even if they jump around.
Yeah, even then, a 12-slide deck is a decent guideline, sure, but you have to read the room. If the investors want to skip ahead, fine, let them.
Yeah.
But you gently guide it back, make sure you maintain the structure of your narrative to build that final case. It's really about letting your genuine passion for the vision shine through. That's infectious.
And part of that compelling story, apparently, is showing unapologetic confidence, but subtly.
Right, it's not arrogance, it's about the language you use, like using when instead of if for future success.
Yeah.
Saying, when we close this round, we're going to. It just subtly signals that in your mind, the money's already there.
Okay, I see. Projecting certainty.
Exactly. And you also need what one source called near-term clairvoyance. Sounds impressive, but it just means having absolute clarity on what you'll achieve in the next few quarters, what gets done with their money. And knowing your numbers cold, I mean every number, even granular stuff like sales commission structures, that builds massive credibility.
Yeah, there was an anecdote about that, wasn't there?
There was. A founder fumbled on a specific commission percentage. Didn't seem like a huge deal, maybe, but it instantly undermined the investor's confidence. A colleague had to jump in with the exact range to sort of salvage the moment. Details matter.
So when these investors are looking at you, they're mainly evaluating what, three things?
Broadly, yes.
Okay.
It boils down to your team, the market opportunity, and those early signs of traction. Proof that you're onto something.
Which is where your proof points and metrics become, well, critical.
Totally. And it's smart to get advice, maybe from advisors or mentors, on the specific proof points VCs in your space will want to see for Series A. They differ. Here's a practical tip, too. If you can, maybe raise a slightly larger seed round.
Oh, why is that?
It just gives you more runway, more time to actually achieve those crucial proof points before you have to go out for the Series A. Less pressure.
Makes sense. Buy yourself some time to build the story.
Exactly. And when you are pitching, always back it up with data from your validation efforts and be super clear about your plan. How exactly will this new funding be used?
Okay, now for maybe the most crucial part, avoiding the traps. Our sources pointed out several pitfalls that can really trip up founders, like don't get fooled by inbound interest, right? Or if your existing investors are being really positive.
Right, that feels good, but doesn't automatically mean a new round is easy or guaranteed. Not at all. Another trap is doing these kind of one-off benchmarking comparisons against other companies.
Yeah.
They can be really misleading out of context. Also, and this is a big one, just because you had an easy seed round, do not assume the Series A will be easy too. It's a different league, different expectations.
And there's that counterintuitive point about market size.
Yeah, being the leader in a small niche market might sound great, but paradoxically, it could mean less growth potential in a VC's eyes than being, say, number 3 in a massive booming market.
Wow, okay. Scale matters.
Hugely. But this all leads to perhaps the most dangerous trap for founders. What happens when you're actually too good at selling the vision?
Ah, right. The ultimate trap. You're so
Yeah.
persuasive, you raise money for an idea that, well, just isn't working.
Precisely. You keep the business going, but it's fundamentally flawed. You're just prolonging the inevitable, burning cash.
Pouring good money after bad, essentially.
That's the risk. The source has really dug into this. Founder grit, that incredible determination. It's usually a massive asset. But it can also, unfortunately, make you stick with something long after you should have pivoted or even stopped. Real sustainable success, they argue, often comes from that very tough skill. Knowing when to quit something that isn't working and redirecting all that amazing energy to the things that are.
That's a hard truth. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here, from structuring your timeline and targeting the right people.
To crafting that compelling story, nailing the pitch performance, and having your metrics absolutely locked down.
We've journeyed through this whole landscape.
And hopefully you now see that your pitch is more than slides, it's a performance. Your confidence is critical and your data has to be solid. Remember, it's not just about getting capital. You're forging a long-term partnership. Like one expert said, the ultimate success of your company might still be a coin flip. As a founder, don't let your pitch make it one. Don't add unnecessary risk there.
Well put. So as you get ready to put these strategies into action, maybe start batching those investor meetings. Here's a final thought to chew on. If fundraising really is this performance where you have to project being the inevitable victor, How do you, as a founder, make sure your own internal belief, your conviction, truly lines up with that confident external story, especially when, deep down, just how uncertain that path ahead really is?